So yes, here we are, the final day of the Romford Film Festival 2025, and we've just had a screening of a short movie and a feature, an excellent feature called The Editing. Do me a favour, let's go down the line because we're now with some cast and crew from the movie. Tell me who you are and what you did on the film.
So I'm the director and the screenwriter of the movie. James.
Hello, I'm James and I play the role of Larry.
I'm Karl and I played the role of Boris.
I am gutted that Reese is not here today because although it's brilliant to have you guys here, it's great to have a chat with you. I mean, yeah, I would love to know how he got into the mind state of this film, but we'll talk about that a little bit in a second. But first of all, I want to jump back because back in the day we used to have video shops. You might remember them. There was always the 3 for 2, which was your perfect weekend. So I want to find out a little bit more about you guys and get a perfect weekend. Each of you has to pick a movie, but it needs to be a movie that inspired you to get into filmmaking.
For me, the movie who inspired me to get into filmmaking was Starship Troopers from Paul Verhoeven.
Wow.
I discovered this movie when I was 6 years old and I was like, fuck, I want to do cinema.
What a choice.
Good choice. Yeah, just saying good choice on that one, yeah. I grew up with a lot of comedy films, especially American comedies. Rush Hour would definitely be a personal favourite because of the comedic duo. I've always wanted to be a part of something like that, and it was my dad's favourite film. I loved the banter between the two characters, and yeah, that was definitely one of the reasons why I decided to get into acting, actually, yeah.
Well, what got me into acting was actually a theatre play. It was The Crucible, and Ian Glenn played it for the RSC, and we watched it in the Gielgud Theatre in London. This was going back years and years, and that's what inspired me to get into acting. But my favourite film that I kind of it's the one DVD that I have left, and it's in my man drawer, in my cupboard, in the corner of my bedroom. I've kept it for years. Is Glengarry Glen Ross?
Wow.
Yeah, with Al Pacino, Jack Lemmon, dare I say Kevin Spacey? But yeah, before everything happened. But yeah. And that, I mean, it's just there's no bells, there's no whistles. It's just brilliant writing, and the acting in it is just phenomenal. And I still watch it to this day and go, yeah, one day.
So I was a huge fan of The Editing when we came through the submissions, and we have to watch everything, but this was definitely a movie that stuck out for me. So I wanted to know where this quite out there, quite outrageous, quite ambitious feature came from. What was the initial spark, the initial idea?
So the initial spark, it was during the COVID, and I was bored, like everyone, and I wanted to shoot a movie. It's been years and years and years I wanted to do my feature. So I had this idea because of the story of Easy Rider, where Dennis Hooper was doing the edit, and it was at the middle of the forest alone, and when the producer came, he was taking his shotgun and shoot on them to not them to come until he finished the edit. And for months and months it was like that, and the producer couldn't come to see the edit. And so I have this idea of this crazy director with the two producers who came to him, and for me it was all about the deny from certain artists, or they have all the power to finish their masterpiece or their movies or painting or everything, but find all the excuses of the world to not finish it. And I wanted to go further with this guy who that much in the deny, it changed his personality. Something changed in his mind. So that was the idea, and at the beginning it was a short movie. We were supposed to shoot it once, but there was COVID, so we continued to write with my co-writer, and we were supposed to shoot another time. It was a 40-minute movie at this time. COVID again.
Yes.
And the third time was a good one, but at this moment it became a feature movie, like 70 minutes. And we finally could shoot this movie for like 8 days at the middle of a mountain in Savoie in France, all in the same house. everyone was living in the same house. It was quite an experience and really long day.
Yes.
So I want to talk about that as well, because a movie like this, dealing at this level, it's still quite independent, it's low budget, and you've got to get your casting absolutely spot on. You're now spending all this time in a house together. What was the collaboration process like? Like once you'd found your actors, and then what was that like?
So for the actor, for like James and Carl, it was like an evidence. Like it was like my first choice directly, and they were available. And for me, there was really a good incarnation about the character. For Reese, it was like more tricky because I couldn't find a good Teddy Sweetlove. And I find this little short movie Reese made by himself.
Okay.
He was, to be honest, not really good in it, but I found his personality amazing, and actually he was living in Paris. So I met the guy, and we worked on the role for like months and months and months, and he nailed it. Like after his two personality, he had like this presence with his long arms. He like it's amazing. It's amazing. That was like we were struggling to find someone to play Teddy, and I find this great actor, and I'm so sad he couldn't be here because he didn't see through the movie.
And for you guys, what was it about this project when it came to you that was like, I really want to dive into this world, this character is my character and I'm going to play it?
Well, I don't know about you, but the characters are a bit crazy. Like, it's, they were super interesting. Like, my character especially, I don't know if it was obvious to you lot, but he's a bit of a wimp, and he didn't like confrontation. But there were also like these beautiful character development moments where he decided like, I've got to do something about this because my life is on the line here, and our lives are in jeopardy. We need to do something about it. So I liked that wave of emotion that I had to go through, very up and down quite a lot. But yeah, I loved our comedic duo. There were a lot of moments we had together that were very charismatic, very energized, and very heated as well.
Well, straight away they bounced off each other on the page before we even kind of got up on his feet. I mean, for me, well, first of all, it was being shot in France, so that was the deal breaker. And no, it wasn't. But that was an added thing. But I found it interesting the amount of stress that Boris was under, and I know that was obvious because there's so much online, but it just intrigued me. I was like, well, how would you really deal with something like that? I mean, if it was actually, it probably is true in certain, people borrow money off the mafia, I'm sure, and do all sorts of things, but that intense stress of doing it anyway, and then finding yourself in this bonkers situation where you're trying to find your film that you've obviously paid all the money up front for, you haven't seen it, and you're running around with a guy who's probably half your age, who you've kind of invested into this company, and it just, the whole thing was just like a mind boggle to think, oh, okay, this is really interesting to get kind of stuck into, and it's it kind of like watching it back. It's that it gave me those sort of palpitations that whole way through of like that constant stress, but it wasn't just that stress, it's the way they kind of found themselves out of it as well, and then it just kept going sort of almost like around and around, and it's so that's what I found interesting.
I was going to say, following what Karl and both what Audouin said, as soon as we arrived to set, it was very easy to become immersed in where we were. Like, we were surrounded by all these mountains, the snow, the location, the Norwegian bath. I mean, it was all there, ready to go. So I was fully equipped, like, character-wise, to do this, like, because we had everything ready to go, like we got costume ready and everything. It was the perfect setup for, shooting a movie. Obviously there were we had the COVID complications and stuff to begin with, which made getting there challenging, but as soon as we arrived, it was like the world is already created for you. So I would admire and thank you for making that happen.
I remember seeing Audouin's face because I got COVID
Yeah.
just before we came. And my
3
wife,
days before the shoot.
my wife got COVID, and then I said to Audouin, "Oh, my wife's got COVID, but I'm okay." But I could see in his eyes, were like, "Well, you're the next person who's going to get COVID." And I got COVID. Like, Audouin, I've got COVID. And your face was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry."
And my producer was like, "Okay, we have no choice. We have to recast him at the last time." And I was no, I want Karl. So we changed all the schedule to have him, change something. And you arrive on set 3 days after the beginning of the shoot. Not 1 minute for him to just even wash his hand. He was on the set shooting.
That's cool though.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah,
And as an actor, that must be pretty awesome for you as well, that they would move things around a little bit.
Well, no, absolutely. I mean, the first thing I remember saying to him, I was like, I got COVID, and like, dude, I completely understand that this is more than likely going to put me out of it, you know. And I was, I was quite sad about that, because I thought, I was really looking forward to doing it, and then, Audouin moved so much stuff around. I was like, it kind of made me feel special, thank you. But no, and thankfully did, and it kind of it was a great time, and it worked out really well.
And the actor was really incredible because like every scene, no more than 3 takes. In between every scene, they repeat their text. They know their text. It was like, I was pretty amazed. All the team was like, wow, it's efficient.
Lightning in the ball. Can you guys think of any one thing, like a scene, a moment of dialogue, or anything like that happened on set that you couldn't possibly have planned for, but actually it was gold and it made it to the final cut?
That's the scene at the top of the mountain during a storm. Because they were supposed to have no storm. And it was a problem because with the 3 day we couldn't shoot with Karl. We were supposed to shoot exterior. So we shoot the exterior without Karl. And when you arrive, big tempest, big storm, snowstorm. So it was not matching with the rest of the outside. So we have to figure out. But at least we have this scene or the unbury the computer who was inside the storm, so it's way more stylish on the screen. It was also way more dangerous because we were like 15 on a little minivan.
Very cold. Very cold.
Very, very cold. Like Chris couldn't talk because like his fake mustaches was totally freezing. He was like, I can't talk.
I remember we got back to initial location just after that. We finished that shoot, and there's some snow got into my boot. I wasn't wearing enough socks, and I couldn't feel my foot for about half an hour. So there was a big fireplace, and I was just there, like knocking at it, going like, "Come on, wake up!" Like it wasn't happening. But it was a great shoot. It was great.
Apart from the frostbite.
Well, almost. It's still working, like, you know.
Was there any moment for yourself as well that you remember, like it wasn't scripted, but it was like, let's just go for it, see what happens, and it was gold?
I think it was the mountain scene again. What Audouin touched on. It was. I mean, we had the blizzard. It was we seemed to be driving up forever. Just like, are there any more roads that they're still taking us up and up and up? And then after that, we just almost like got cut loose on it and we went for it. And then and I mean, like with James, I remember it was so cold. I mean, I couldn't even hold the shovel anymore, and it was just, I remember kind of just trying to open this thing using my arms. But
I wasn't wearing gloves. I watched it back and I was like, oh my god!
I did sort of wonder. I mean, it felt, even though we were cold, it felt really. It was electric. We felt kind of so energized from inside it. And then when we finally watched it back, probably on the first edit properly, I was like, wow, that went incredible. Really.
Yeah, we never cut the camera. Like I said to my DP, we shot, he was running everywhere, he was falling on the snow like that with the camera, the focus puller, it was freeze, so it's not working, so we have to do everything by his hands. And I think we shoot this scene of like 15 minutes. 20 minutes, yeah.
So I always tend to ask about some of the biggest challenges and on that people have on the movies, but I guess you guys just went through a little bit of everything. So what, because obviously COVID and storms and whatnot, what would you say is the biggest thing you've learned about filmmaking on this project, but also about yourselves during this project?
Oh, it just confirmed me like shooting is always problems. And I think it helped me to take like things back and saying like, okay, there is this problem, we don't have to think to other things, we have to find a solution right away and take a decision right now. And because the movie have to go and continue. And I think it's the best thing I learned so much with this movie, like in 8 days, with all the problem, and I was happy every time we take a decision and it was working and it can continue to work. And it's never how it's gonna look like in your mind, but we did everything to look like the most it was in our mind, our vision. So yeah, and it was like not even more like a frustration. I was happy we can continue and continue. And it helped me to understand like movies shooting, it's always make quick decision, important, and deal with what happened next also. But yeah.
I think for me, as a young actor, especially at the time, I think I was about 22, learning to speak up more on set. Like, for example, I know with Audouin being from France, like there was like not a heavy language barrier initially, but we had to like there'd be certain lines of dialogue I'd have to like check with to make sure it's translates the same as how I would want to say it. So I found myself in moments where internally I'd be like, should I ask him about that? Like, because to me when I say it, it doesn't sound right. So I had those moments internally and actually vocalized those feelings, and obviously Audouin was adaptable and he was like, yeah, let's work with it and let's try this set instead, and we made those changes and obviously it turned out amazing. So since then I've been much more confident with that specifically. Yeah.
And for me, it reminded me to really trust your gut and things. And so when, because I had COVID and then I was just cleared and I had just had the vaccinations and I flew out. I remember we got straight into it, and it was really hard, but it was great. But what made me happy to do that and push me through that was knowing that the director and everyone on board, and I think I met you for the first time physically.
Yes.
And when I got to the set, it was just like it was really professionally run. And I remember thinking, if this had been a really badly run set or a bad script or anything, if I haven't tried, it just would have been awful. And I did, and I've done that. I've done films before, and I thought, I don't know, but you do it anyway, and you're like, should have just trusted my gut. And I think you get that in life, and anyway, you just remember to kind of say no. The power of no, and also when you want to say and trust that yes, and I trust that right from the beginning, because we didn't know each other, and it wasn't a huge budget or anything like that. It could have been one of those moments like Joey and Friends where you go out and do you know what I mean, and everyone's gone, but obviously it wasn't. So it's it reminded me, and it stayed with me, that kind of knowing, just trusting your gut.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like we all wanted to succeed at the end of the day, and you could really feel the team effort, even with the challenges that you've told us about. That's the main point I wanted to make. We were really just all in this together, even with all of these things we had to deal with. It was beautiful moments like that.
Yeah, what it's cool is like the actor understands the script. It was not the case for all the team because they don't too much understand the movie. But when they see it at the end, they say, okay, now it makes sense.
And with that, you have created a fantastic movie. We got to see it up here today. You guys have been here to watch it as well. But what kind of reactions have you been getting when it is being shown, either to your friends and family or to other audiences? What are people saying about this movie?
I don't know, there is people who love it and people who hate it. Yeah, sometimes, but I think it's cool when you have the both, because you have feedback from everyone, And for my friend, mostly there was, oh, I'm surprised because I think I'm gonna see something shitty, and actually it's good. I think it's gonna be a student. Yeah, for me it's the best compliment you can do. But it depends also. Like people who are more edgy, like my parents, everyone didn't understand nothing about the movie. And yeah, people are surprised from. They think like the movie you never know what's going to happen.
One of the first things I asked Audouin was, what is the genre of this film after I read the script? And he was like, dark comedy, thriller. And that really kind of cemented it for me. Like, okay, now I understand what we're going for. Because if you read it, you go in like, well, that's funny, but this is very serious. Like, so, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, I think we're all talking to Reese about this, and we're just sort of, as actors, we're sort of like, so what, you don't think, I wonder what's the reception will be like, do you think? You know what I mean? Once it's all done, and we think, yeah, okay. And quite rightly, when you're doing any sort of film or theatre or TV, anything like that, you should always be 110% invested in it anyway. But you do some projects and you're going to go, we'll move on from that one, and then you do other, and you think, I really hope this really works. But speaking on behalf of Reese, who's not here, and I completely agree with him. It could turn into some sort of really kind of like cool cult film that's just one of those things that it kind of just goes a lot, it lasts forever, and it's like your grandkids see it and go, yeah, that's still really cool. It transcends kind of different time scales.
It definitely has a sense of like 5 or 6 years down the line, hopefully not that long, but it has that sense that it'll get found on stream and people will talk about it, and then all of a sudden, you've got The Room on your hand. I'm not saying it's as bad as The Room, but that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Going to throw it out to the audience if we have any questions. However, we don't have a microphone, so you will have to shout. Yep, go for it.
Why Armageddon?
So for me, it's the biggest mistake of the movie. I should have used Titanic because Armageddon is like the symbolism of the 80s with Bruce Willis, Ben Affleck, and everything. It's Michael Bay. It's cheesy as fuck, and when you see the industry, they try to do like extended cinematic universe from everything. I thought it was funny. This guy actually tried to create an extended universe for something who was totally has-been, and no one won't love that. But maybe after the movie, I said, maybe I should use Titanic because everyone knows Titanic, and I don't know if people know Armageddon. Mostly the new generation. I'm not sure. But everyone knows.
You're dealing with Michael Bay. Everybody knows all of his movies. Yep. Chris, sorry.
And this is a question for each of you. If you could act as any character in the Stanley Kubrick film, which character would you pick and why?
Jack Nicholson in The Shining.
Yeah. I don't want to copy him. Jack Nicholson's is just
phenomenal.
Absolutely phenomenal. I think I think as well, kind of like when you look at where Jack Nicholson came from, and then you look at his past, and you find out that his mum was his sister or something like that. You know what I mean? And he kind of came from nothing. And he that as him as an actor, I think from very early on just said, I don't really give a fuck. I'm just going to do it the way I want to do it. And I think. And that's what's quite nice about this film as well. We were given that freedom to kind of express that and not feel kind of really confined about. You need to say that exact word, or that you need to do exactly how I want to do it, because that just kind of restricts you. But sorry to copy your.
I can't really. I'm sorry. It's a fantastic question.
I'll take any mail from Eyes Wide Shut.
Up there. I was just a question for the actors, but I really enjoyed the characters you guys were playing from us. If it's the kind of character would you
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I sort of, I mean, I suppose if I'm picking at my own performance, I sort of wondered if you know, because Boris is always really kind of stressed. He's stressed about everything. He's kind of divorced. He's just borrowed money off, you know, the mafia. And it just he's found himself in this whole thing. And what I kind of didn't, I wanted a bit of light to a lot of that shade, that frustration, and which is why it kind of bounced off very well, because
Absolutely.
you were a lot of that light, and I kind of almost saw you as a son, but I've lost track.
We blended well together, definitely.
Yeah,
is definitely the key thing to mention. As I said from the get-go, like, I grew up watching a lot of comedies, and I've always, like, as I've trained to be an actor and started to get work, I've always wanted to do comedic duo, and this was my first opportunity to do it. And to play the wimp, to play, you know, the guy who just doesn't like any confrontation, who just fear everything in sight, I was like, this is absolutely perfect. I can't wait to do this. Yeah, I'm cut out for doing this. Okay.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah. That answers your question, sort of. Yeah.
Any more?
Yeah.
Good
Who
thing.
finally made the editing of the editing?
Who finally made the editing of the editing? It's my editor, and we did a lot of re-edit. But what was funny, it's like we didn't work together. We did that by distance, back and forth. He was editing, sent me the project. I was doing some modification because I'm also doing editing, and back and forth. And just at the end, we see each other like 3 times and edit done. So that was a weird way to work, but it worked.
So I'm going to round out with one last question, and it's a fun one. So I love your film. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I think everybody would agree. It's, you know, up there on today. But if you could go back and reshoot any one scene in your movie, however, this time you have to reshoot it as a musical number, a full musical number, song, dance number. What scene would you do, and what would the song be?
That will be the scene with Ronnie and Teddy. We analyze his leg with the time of my life.
Oh gosh, this is a good question. I'm not in the scene as much, but when Teddy Sweetlove is treating Trinidad, it would be just cool to have the backing track as Take Me to Heaven from Sister Act the musical. Like, because you can see he's going, like, I don't know, I just want to...
Oh my goodness.
Like an uplifting song, but him going,
oh my goodness, yeah, I don't know. Let's think. Okay, maybe the scene when it's me and Larry, when you've just seen the Yakuza chop off his finger, and then when I'm sort of holding your face to try and calm you down and let everything will be right. But what song would that be from a musical? Oh my god! I don't know. Yeah, maybe something from Frozen or something. I don't know. Let it out or something. No.
Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. That'll do. Yeah.
Right, guys. Thank you so much for submitting the movie to the festival. Thank you for letting us show it today. And if we can get a round of applause, please.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you.
Thank you.